How you guys doing? How you guys doing? How you guys doing? This is ACAB, Father ACAB, whatever you want to call me, ACAB Devil. But today we're going to have a conversation about some current events. We're going to talk about some things. We're going to discuss it. And I want you guys to understand something, right? That at the end of the day, I care about my country and I care about people who are suffering. But that does not call for me to agree to everything that you want in the pursuit of supporting tyranny. Now, with that being said, guys, make sure you guys are tapping the stream. Make sure you guys are sharing the stream. We're going to have a conversation today. First things first. First item of news. We heard recently in the news that there is some news out of Israel. There was a refugee camp that was struck. And the intended target was allegedly a leader of Hamas. They claimed it was an accident. They claimed that they didn't target innocent civilians, that Hamas uses these human shields. That's what the claim was. Dozens of people no longer with us because of what Israel did. It is suspected that there was a bunker buster that was launched, and that's why it happened. People ask me all the time, why is it that I feel the need to comment on something that doesn't directly affect that doesn't directly affect foundational Black Americans or Black descendants of American slaves or the Black natives? And I can understand the reasons why people would ask that question. I totally get the reasons why. But here's my rebuttal. My rebuttal is that our tax dollars, instead of our tax dollars being used for reparations, instead of our tax dollars being used to help the homeless, instead of our tax dollars being used to lower inflation, do something about inflation, instead of our tax dollars being used to fix some of the roads that you've been driving on, it's being used to purchase weapons. The only person who is benefiting off of this are defense contractors. We, the American people, are not benefiting from what's being for our dollars being used to buy weapons, construct these colossal machines. Get defense contractors to put out all this crap, and then give it to other countries so that they can go out and harm people with the weapons that we purchase as the American populace. The thing that I want the American people to understand is that the only reason why you should care is that your money is being used to go harm people instead of helping you. I want to remind you that during the past 2 years, there was a stimulus package that was being announced. Stimulus package. It was for struggling American families who were struggling with the inflation that was rising even then. Struggling with the cost of rent. They had to do a rent moratorium. People were struggling. People were having a hard time. And they were debating about whether or not to give you a stimulus. They did not even debate giving Ukraine money. They ain't wait to give Israel money. They threw money at them. But they had a debate as to whether or not you can get a stimulus. Homelessness has skyrocketed. If you've been by Portland, LA, New York, Chicago, you name it, they are doing more for people who ain't even citizens. As you may or may not have actually noticed, they'll do more for people who are not even citizens. They were debating on whether or not to give you a stimulus check, but they got money for Ukraine, they got money for Israel, they got money for every other country except for you, the American people. And I ain't just talking about Democrats. Democrats are certainly guilty of it. Joe Biden gets no respect from me. Trump did it too. A lot of people did it. It wasn't just Democrats. It was the Republicans too. The so-called progressives, them too. The so-called conservatives, them too. Left, far, it don't matter what side of the political spectrum you find these people who are politicians. It doesn't matter. They are so willing to give away your money to foreign conflicts versus helping homeless people on Skid Row. People are like, well, those people are addicts, and who cares? They're American citizens. I'd much rather all those billions of dollars go towards them versus a freaking country I've never actually been to. Who cares? Who cares? Well, that country is suffering. We got to give money to Ukraine so they can go fight Russia. Why do I care about what happens in Ukraine? It ain't my country. Well, we can't allow Russia to get control of this and that, or this and that is going to happen. Do you know what that sounds like? That sounds like every election season when black folks ask for reparations or some kind of accountability with like freaking police officers. It sounds just like that. It sounds just like that. You always tell us, just wait. Don't worry about it. Hey, just wait. There's not enough of you for us to care about you now. But then you go over to freaking Ukraine. There are more people in California than there are in the whole country of freaking Ukraine. But you ain't helping the homeless people who are on the streets in freaking California. You are helping Ukraine. Well, and it also sounds like every election season, you saying the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Hey, this is the most important election of your lifetime. You say that every election season. Everyone. And just like with this whole support with freaking Ukraine, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens there. You keep telling us this is the most important thing out there, so freaking support it. You said the exact same thing about the freaking Patriot Act. The wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, I served in those conflicts. I have every right to make a freaking judgment. It was all based on a freaking lie. You told us it was important for you to get the freaking Patriot Act so that these intelligence companies, these intelligence agencies can spy on us, the American people. Well, you saw what happened in Maine, right? You saw what happened in Maine, right? You had a guy who was known to the FBI, known to law enforcement. You had his family, friends, even the people who he served with in the freaking military calling law enforcement saying, hey, this guy is a problem. He might do something crazy. So all that bunch of sacrificing our freedoms for the freaking Patriot Act did nothing there, right? The cops, the freaking cops were still useless, right? Right? So then why did I sacrifice my freedom, so that you can't actually go after criminals? Your answer is to disarm the American people. Right. So you want to disarm the American people because pigs didn't do their job. Okay, so you want to take my guns because when you were told Saginaw, freaking Saginaw police in freaking Maine, you were told that guy was in actual danger. You did nothing. You did nothing. You had the power and you did nothing. So now you want to come take my guns because you didn't do your job. Do you see what's happening here? Because the American government didn't do their job, they want to take your freedom. The police did not do their job in Maine, so now they want to take your guns. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Because the government didn't do their job. When they tax you, they tell you, hey, we're taxing you so that we can build roads. We can feed the homeless. And every time they fail to do their job, you get blamed for it. You, the American people, who is already being robbed blind right in front of your mind, right in front of your eyes, having your tax dollars taken every day to be spent on bombs. Right? And then when they fail to do their job, they blame you. When you have veterans who need help, who need housing, who need jobs, the government fails to help them, right? And then when that veteran becomes homeless, they find a way to victim blame. You sent a person to war. That breaks somebody's mind, man. Some people can't handle that. That's okay. It is totally okay if you break down because you went to war. That makes sense. So that when you come home, you should be taken care of. But we can't do that. We then blame the victim. We will say stuff like, well, what if he's an addict? Well, what if he just simply lost his job because of his own fault? You find a way to blame the victim, but you have no problem with sending money to other countries. No problem. Mental health care, the psychologists, listen, I've had a lot of criticism towards the VA. But I understand at the same time, we are more willing to throw money at other countries than to help veterans who need help right now. We are throwing money at Israel right now, and we know Israel is committing crimes as we speak. You are throwing money over there so that you can go make more refugees before you help the war fighters who are already here on your streets. Because I know this because I'm a combat veteran. I won't even use the VA. It's been that bad for me. So I know we've been lacking. I know that. I'm a veteran. That personally affects me. I can see the lack of care. I can see the lack of freaking concern. I can see that. Why are we helping other countries fight wars when we haven't helped the people who fought the wars for us here? They're on your streets. They are in your Walmarts. They are in your freaking grocery store parking lots, parked inside of cars and freaking campers. They're on your streets. They are living in dumpsters right now. But they have no problem. Our government, our president, our entire government, Democrat, Republican, I don't care who it is. They're all guilty. They're all complicit. All of them. I'm not going to single out one person. They're all complicit. They're all complicit. You got American cities right now, black owned, basically, you got American cities that are predominantly black, right? Predominantly black, who don't have running water right now. Don't have running water. But you're giving Israel bunker buster bombs. You're giving Ukraine tanks, jets. There are children who can't even walk to school because it is too far away. But you worried about how Ukrainians are going to make it. You told me for the longest time the reason why you were throwing out so many Haitians who are black, who look just like me, you told me that immigrants were bad. You said that. Last year in 2022, the current administration deported the 20,000 Haitian, which was an actual record. The 20,000 Haitian. But you were inviting Ukrainians in. I'm going to say that again. Last year in 2022, this current administration deported the 20,000 Haitian. 20,000. A record. But you're letting in white Ukrainians. And don't you tell me that when the Palestinians want to actually come here, because again, they're refugees thanks to our bombs, thanks to us funding Israel. When they come here, don't you tell me that some Muslim who comes from Palestine is going to be treated worse than a white Ukrainian girl when they want to come through immigration, when they want to come and get their papers. Because we saw exactly, right? We saw exactly how you treated Haitians. We saw that. And we see exactly how you're treating Hispanic people, Mexican people. You're pushing them into black neighborhoods because those are neighborhoods that you perceive to be poor. That's why you shove them in there. Because you understand they ain't white either, and you want to keep them at a certain level too. See, that's why you flood the zone with black communities with all these people who ain't from here. Because it's a way of controlling people who are here, who you also don't want here, but you using the other group as a vanguard. See, people miss that part when it comes to immigration. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about all this tonight. We're going to have a conversation. I've been going a while. Sister girl Jess, how you doing? Much love. Thank you for always supporting me. I was away for a week. I needed to recharge my batteries. I realized that sometimes I can get a little bit fiery. And so I needed to take breaks off and spend time with my family, spend time with my boy, my little man. He's crawling. And he slept the whole night last night inside his crib. And we had up 2 cameras. Because the only way I can get my wife to agree, we had to get up 2 cameras. I went to Xfinity and I added it to my internet account of this actual indoor camera, because they got the indoor and like the outdoor one. So I got the actual indoor one, and so I went and I went to the company. I got the professional camera, and I went ahead and did that. and now we can see him in 4K. So we watch him pretty much all the time, and he's never alone for more than like 5 or 6 hours. We don't let him sleep for that long, because really he's supposed to be up and at him. But anyways, we were having a discussion earlier about what happened in Israel. A refugee camp was hit by an Israeli attack. A lot of people were harmed. A lot of women and children. And people want to say, well, what happened on October the 7th was horrible. And that's true. What Hamas did was awful. Like, we can't sit here and make excuses for it. But I say that in context. I'm not going to go at the Native American for going at people who is on their land. I'm not going to go at the black person, the black maroon from the Florida lands and down in South America. I'm not going to go at them because they got some innocent white people. As somebody from Israel once said recently, that's the cost of war. When you occupy someone, you don't compensate them. You try to take their land. What do you think was going to happen? And Sister Girl, Jess, you have a right. You are definitely right. Let's make the distinction if I haven't already done so, and I'm pretty sure I've already done so. But again, I want to make sure I do it again. Palestine is not Hamas. It's not Hamas. All right. And to confuse them two, it is intentionally disgusting, and those are not the same thing. They are not the same thing. I want you to understand something, right? People are painting this like Jewish people versus Muslims, and that's not the case, right? There are Christian Palestinians. There are Jewish Palestinians. There are Palestinians who are atheists. So there are people out there who have absolutely nothing to do with any of this, and they are just caught in the crossfire. The vast majority of people who are victims of freaking war are not the combatants in almost any conflict. The vast majority of people who are victims of war are not the people fighting. It's the innocent bystanders. And the problem that I have with people who support Israel, though, is that I got to ask you, what is the basis of your support? They are on someone else's land. While I don't excuse Hamas's actions, I'm also not going to condemn. I'm also not going to condemn people who want their land back. Suppose Native Americans were to rise up right now. I'm not going to condemn them. I'm not going to condemn them. The one thing that I'm known to do is just keep it honest. I'm going to call it exactly how I see it. And the way I see it right now, Israel has been the aggressor from the very beginning. You are not surrounded by that many enemies, and yet nothing is your fault. Come on now. If you can condemn them in some way, then stick to that. Focus on that. Tell them to actually change that, but don't support them. Because in war, there are no winners, there are no losers. Not in this. And aside from that, the reason why I care is because our weapons are being used for that. We are using, excuse me, let me point something out to you. I just been by Portland. I just went by Portland. Do you know what I saw? Homeless encampments. And when I say homeless encampments, it was so bad to the point where I was weaving through tents in the middle of the street. Seattle, it is even worse there. We're spending all this money to help Israel defend itself. My question is, why can't any of our money go towards American citizens? Excuse me, I don't see the IRS going over to freaking Ukraine and auditing people. Hey, did you actually use that money the way you're supposed to actually use it? Did you actually account for it? The IRS ain't doing that. The IRS is coming to your freaking door and busting and they are taking your crap. Your home, your car, possessions, money, all that stuff. They're taking your crap. They're not auditing freaking Ukraine. They ain't auditing freaking Israel. They're auditing you. Why is it that you have to have more freaking accountability than someone at war? Someone at war should have more accountability than you, the American people. I'm going to say that for you again. As someone who's been to a war zone, who's actually fought in a war, let me say it for you again. Someone who's at war should have more accountability for your tax dollars than you, the American people. Because they're at war. If you waste the actual assets, if you waste the funds, you can't fight the war. And thus, we are funding you for no reason. We knew that Ukraine was one of the most corrupt countries in all of Europe before this war. True or false? True. We knew that. And now, even now, we are seeing, whereas some of the equipment, some of the money just gone missing. Go figure. The same government who has over $1 trillion missing out of their budget every year, go figure the same government would give money to another country and not keep a freaking count of it. Go figure. Go figure. The same government who can't build a road has no problem throwing money at another country without asking them, hey, can you keep track of that? The same government who not only started 2 wars in Iraq and freaking Afghanistan, but then brought in military contractors from who actually brought in contractors from Dyson, from Raytheon, I mean DynCorp. They did the whole DynCorp did a lot of the defects, a lot of the mess halls, the cafeterias. They'll bring in all these contractors and then overpay these contractors, right? Before they simply give a homeless veteran a job. Halliburton, yeah, they would rather go overseas, start a war, an illegitimate war, spend trillions of dollars before they'll drop $1 to help a veteran who's going through addiction because he can't deal with combat stress. That's not that veteran's fault. It's not a veteran's fault if they end up homeless because, hey, a lot of people end up homeless. You got guys, listen, people don't seem to realize that what happens in Maine is a wake-up call. We have to take care of our veterans. That guy was a vet. You saw what he did. I guarantee you, I bet money the VA is lying right now. They never got that man help. People who get help typically don't do this. He never got help. That's why they don't want to talk about it. All of a sudden, notice the news stories. They trying to just move on, right? No one's talking about the cops who didn't do anything when they were told this guy, this guy was actually dangerous. No one's talking about the VA. Did he actually get VA care? Did he actually get some help? Did he ever talk to anybody? Notice how no one's asking those questions. Why are they not asking those questions? I mean, if that would help us stop the next guy, right? Why not? Why not at least ask the question? But you won't ask the question because once you ask that question, you then gotta actually do an honest inventory about what we're spending our money on. These pigs, these cops, they're useless. They don't even have a constitution. Did you know that cops don't even have a constitutional duty to even protect you? But we're giving them billions of dollars. We gave those cops at Saginaw in freaking Maine. We gave them billions of dollars. I looked it up. We gave them billions. 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 And what did they do with it? Did they actually stop the actual threat? Did they at least, at the very least, if you get other people in the military who say, hey, this guy's dangerous, if the military's saying it, take his guns. They trained him. They know what he's capable of. Are you serious? You had people on freaking CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Oh man, we're so happy with the heroic response of law enforcement. The heroic response. They're such heroes. They did nothing. The man took himself out. They were literally useless. The FBI admitted he was on their radar. And they did nothing. Because they're useless. You are spending all this money on war and outfitting police officers with freaking military gear. And for what? For what? They're doing nothing. These overseas conflicts that we're buying all this freaking gear for, that's doing nothing for the American people. Black America, a lot of us don't even care about what's happening freaking overseas because, again, we're worried about reparations, an anti-black hate crime bill, and things for us and the American people. Most of all, we live here. We live here. So, again, I want Americans, the whole point of the stream is to really, really analyze, right? Analyze what you support and what you pay for. Not just on a federal level, but also a local level. Now is the first time I'll ever tell you, get involved in politics. Look at your local politics and federal politics. Look at what they're spending your money on. If the DMV or your local Department of Motor Vehicles or whatever, if they're telling you, we're spending money to build up roads and maintain roads, and if you look on your roads and your roads are freaking jacked up, say something. Say something. Right? Say something. If you at your local town council meeting, if you notice that money appears to be missing, not being accounted for, say something. If you're noticing that your police officers are useless in your local area, call to defund them. Defund them. If you got police officers, right? If you got police officers that when warned, they're being told a guy's dangerous, and they do nothing. They're being told this guy's dangerous. He shouldn't have firearms. He's dangerous. And you do nothing? You don't even call him? I mean, email, fax, page him? Yeah, I'm going back that old school. Can you at least page him? Page him? Hey, Mr. Crazy Shooter. Hey, how you doing? Something. Damn. But these people spend all this untold money outfitting police officers with all this military gear. And for what? So they can go after black folks. And let's just keep it about. Black folks, then they go after Hispanics, and then it's Asians, but we're the number one targets. Don't get it twisted. How are you 13% of the population, yet you are number one in exonerations? Tells you a lot. Okay. You spend all that money outfitting police officers, right? Outfitting police officers with a bunch of gear they will never use, don't need, and the only time they actually use it is when they want to abuse people. Right? The only time they want to use it is when they want to abuse people. Make sure you guys tap the stream. Make sure you guys are sharing the stream. But again, the only time they want to use it is when they want to abuse people. Right? That's the only time they want to use it. I want you to know, nobody used all that military gear, their up armor, their freaking up armor, freaking Bearcats and MRAPs. They didn't use any of that when it comes to that guy, when they're being warned by military members. People in the military were warning them about this guy, and they did nothing. Notice that they didn't use any of that military gear that time. But let a single black person criticize the police, and they can spin it like, this person's a freaking public safety threat. They will use those Bearcats then. They'll use those those freaking MRAPs then. Or say you're not even black, you a white person, and you criticize the police officers, and you don't back down. You will see those AR-15s then, that freaking body armor, all that stuff that police officers have. The only time they will go after a white person is when a white person is off cold. Oh, and they will go after you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you a white person who has the nerve and the audacity to defend a black person in front of a cop and nobody's filming, oh. Okay. Yeah, I can tell you, man. I've seen it happen. Yeah. See, they use all that military gear on you. They send all that gear over to overseas conflicts for other people to use. But then when you want to go buy an AR-15, oh, why would anyone need an AR-15? I don't know. Ask the pigs, because they sure wasn't using it with that freaking guy in doggone Maine. They have them. They didn't even use them. So I guess you're right. Why do they even need them? Huh? Why do they even need guns? I mean, at this point, do you see what your money is being spent on? Do you see what your money is being spent on? It's being spent to either abuse you or neglect you. At this point, it wouldn't shock me if people in other countries are getting more money directly than the American people. It wouldn't shock me at this point. I haven't seen anything that really supports that. But if I heard it, I wouldn't even doubt it. If I heard it, I wouldn't even doubt it. I would just believe it outright. No evidence. Because I know what I'm seeing. I've seen people in Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Los Angeles, every part of Georgia or South Carolina or Virginia, right? Who's been asking for help with freaking infrastructure, inflation, fuel costs, rent costs, mortgage costs. A lot of people are getting foreclosed on right now. I hope you know that. And I would love for some of that money that we're sending over to freaking Ukraine and freaking Israel to go help people who are American citizens. I don't care what color you are. Keep your home. Jesus. I would love to see that. But again, the American government is not for the American people. They will outsource your job before they help you find one. I'm gonna say that for you again. They will outsource your job before they help you find one. Don't believe that? Go ask a military contractor who's not American, who served in Iraq or Afghanistan. Go ask them how much they made. I know a guy. One of the reasons why I got back into Magic the Gathering is because down in combat, I was in Kandahar, Afghanistan. There was a guy named Mark. I'm not gonna say his last name just for privacy purposes. He's a contractor. He did the exact same job that I did, but he got paid over $100,000 for doing it. And he was doing that job. I think he was in his 7th year. He said that he was going to do it for 10 years. He lived off a very minimum, amount of money. He got free meals, and he got water. He got all the bare necessities. So he just saved $100,000 every year for 10 years. He said, I'm going to save up to $1 million, and I'm going to buy my home. This man was making more than double what I was making, doing the exact same job. In fact, he didn't even do the job. He stood around and watched us do it. Because we're soldiers, you can just order us. You couldn't just order him. See, the worst you can do to him is tell him to go home. So that was the reality. So that shows you. And Mark, I don't think he was American. I think he was Canadian. They would rather pay a foreign citizen 6 figures with benefits. Before they help a single homeless veteran. And you got people who are Democrats who are supporting this war in Ukraine and the conflict in Israel. They're supporting Israel and not realizing how that makes you look to a lot of veterans who already have seen the American people, especially veterans, be ignored. right? We we have watched this for far too long. It's not just a revolt against Democrats, it's a revolt against all parties. You tax us. You take our money. You got folks out there who are farmers who bust their butt every morning. You got bus drivers who are driving bad kids to school, getting cussed out every day, getting stuff thrown at them. You got teachers who are busting their butt trying to raise your kid because you don't want to. You got principals out there taking the heat every day. You got street sweepers. The most unappreciated job out there, but the most necessary. You got trash men who are taking it. I mean, literally got the worst job ever. You got folks out there who are working hard for their money and got nothing to show for it because our government would rather send money over for war, fund police officers, right? Give them military gear, give them all the same military gear that we're giving to freaking Ukraine, we're giving the freaking Israel, Taiwan now, giving them all this stuff, and for what? For what? Have you not noticed that the biggest expenditures that we've had past 6 months has been the cops and overseas conflicts? Seriously, look at how many police departments have gotten pay raises all of a sudden. The city of Chicago just now agreed to that. The LAPD, been actually the LAPD with Karen Bass just now agreed to that a couple months ago. NYPD as well. SFPD over there in San Francisco, Florida, you know that. South Carolina, they got a pay raise because Sheriff Leon Lott, who is a very evil person. Let's just say that. If you ever watch my content, the thing is, he asked for a salary increase. He got that. All the cops across the country are asking for salary increases, even though they already get military gear. And they claim they are so broke. How many cops do you see who are homeless? You've met people who work in gas stations who also are homeless. I met one. Lives right down the street, lives in a camper. Yeah. He's homeless, but he works in a freaking convenience store full time. Doesn't do drugs. I know the guy. It's not his fault. It's just very expensive. Like, if you don't understand that, man, you haven't been to a freaking grocery store lately. Not everybody can actually afford what you can afford. Okay? And you got the American people who are funding all these conflicts, who are funding all this stuff. What is it, right? What is it that we're getting for all this? And Ronnie Thomas, let me just read out what he says. If you get a job worthwhile, you can get a place. I want you all to read that comment, right? And ask yourself, do you think this person is saying this out of good faith? Or do you think this person is just saying that because he wants to criticize homeless people? Yeah. Yeah. So Ronnie, you can have a good day. And on top of that, Ronnie, I also said you can hop into the queue. You have over 1,000 followers, Ronnie. So I want you to hop into the queue. Right? I want you to hop into the queue, Ronnie. Stay here. Ronnie?
Yep.
Hi, Ronnie.
Not
How you doing?
made as a derogatory statement.
No. I want to ask you a question, though. So what do you consider a worthwhile job?
Well, welding, plumber, all these trade jobs that none of the high schools push for. It's all college, 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 learn about every
So
damn
you just
thing.
defeated your own argument just now. You just said the colleges, the actual schools don't push it, but then you're gonna blame the people who don't go into the fields that the schools don't push.
No, I'm not saying that I blame them at all.
You literally just said it. You
No,
said if you get a job, hold on, wait. You made a statement, and I'm going to repeat the statement. If you get a job that's worthwhile, then you will find a place. I asked you what is a job that's worthwhile, and you named a bunch of things that you just claim is not being taught in schools.
right. I'm not
Right.
saying anything derogatory toward you. I'm saying it derogatory to the school system.
Let me ask you a question also. So, if let's say let's say you have a person who's a soldier.
Okay.
Say that person tells you, "I'm on food stamps." What would be your automatic response?
Is it enough?
You would ask them, "Is it enough?"
Yes. I know how the military pays. I'm not a ex-military person, but I have friends who are, and they don't pay shit.
Is that what you believe?
Yes, it is.
Okay, no, no, wait. I want to ask you a question. How many years do you think I served?
I didn't know that you did serve, but thank you for your service.
I'm going to tell you. Not only did I serve, I'm in a very unique category. So the VA gives out compensation based on how injured you are. It's a pay scale from 0 to 100%. Now, most veterans don't get a single rating of 0%. Most of them don't get a single rating. I'm at 100%.
Okay, my father-in-law is at 90%.
And I'm telling you right now that a soldier coming into basic training as a private, them being on food stamps is not unusual. In fact, it's common if you Google it.
That's what I'm saying. They don't pay enough.
No, that's not what you just said.
Okay, then what did I just say then?
Okay. So I'm going to repeat what you just said, but I'm not going to play this game with you. Okay. I don't like this whole back and forth thing where no, sir. The one thing that I'm very much am is direct and straight. You just said that you would then ask them a question. Is it enough? Okay. And I said, okay, you would ask them, is it enough? Do you have a hard time believing there's veterans on food stamps? People
No,
who
I
serve?
don't doubt that at all. The military doesn't pay nowhere near what it should.
Okay, so if you so let's then let's go back to your original statement. If you get a job that's worthwhile, you will find a place. The only reason why people have a place in the military is because of the barracks. The only reason why. You do get that, right?
No, that's
You
not
do
what I'm
get that,
saying.
right?
I'm saying if you don't like, I'm not even talking about military in that sense. What I'm saying is if you go to trade school, a plumber here in Hickville, Tennessee, makes about $60 an hour.
Some plumbers do.
Some do, yes,
Most don't.
and that's where the worthwhile comes in.
But I just named the military, who was the single largest employer in the country. There's no employer that actually employs more people there's no single largest the single largest employer in the country is actually the DOD. A lot of people don't actually know that.
I can believe that. We have
Yeah,
a wonderful military service.
there are people right now who work for the DOD who are homeless. Did you know that?
DOD
Hmm.
homeless.
Hmm. Data entry clerks.
Okay, what
They don't.
that
If you
qualifies?
are a data entry clerk in freaking Washington D.C. making minimum wage in D.C.
I don't live in DC. I don't know what the
uh,
living rate is up
the
there.
cost of living in DC in some areas is worse than New York or LA or Miami.
Well, see, you need to come out to the country.
Some
Where's the
people just can't pick up and move like that, man. And I'm seeing now. Have you ever traveled outside of your area?
Yes, I've been to many countries.
Hmm. And do you ever notice how people didn't just move over to your area because it was just so much better? Do you think maybe there's a reason for that? That
Well,
moving is very expensive?
cities coming to small towns in Tennessee.
Well, one, there's several problems. One is not just the cost of moving; it's also dealing with your local politics. Nobody wants to just deal with down south politics. I'm from South Carolina, so I understand the reason why some people may not want to deal with that. Okay, because some of you in those small towns don't want to change your behavior to actually draw people to make them want to actually come. You want to just keep them to this whole belief system, and then when confronted with actual facts, you didn't stick to what you believe or just talk around it. But Tennessee, in particular, I can totally understand why no black person wants to actually go there. I can get why some people who are LGBT might not want to go there. So a lot of these small towns that you're that you're talking about, you would get more people who would actually come there if you would change. But you won't, because you think that your way of life is right. And when I first asked you the question, I said, hey, I read your statement out. I then repeated your statement. You've talked around this statement so many times to the point where I
You
can't
are
deal
so
with
full
somebody
of
like
shit.
that. And so I want you to have a great day,
You
sir.
are
I don't want you to speak
fucking.
anymore. My thing is that I don't like people like that. That's not right. He's justifying what's happening to people. I said soldiers, and I said DOD people, and he still kept going. Just move to my small town and you'll be all right. As if poverty is not bad in Tennessee. Wow. Some folks, man. Some folks. But you just saw what I'm talking about. You saw what I was just talking about, man. Some people are so deep into the boot, man. They'll justify you being poor and other countries having money for bottoms. Case in point, folks. Anyways, until next time, horns up, peace out, good night, and good luck.